All right, so for science this week, we're on page 139. We're talking about states of matter, the different states of matter. Okay, so everything around us is made of matter. Matter can be found in three states: solid, liquid, and gas. Okay, so everything around us is matter, but they're all found in different states, meaning how they would form, they are in what they currently look like. So let's talk about a solid. So some kinds of matter can be used to make things. Bricks, clay, glass, wood, they are all solids. Okay? Solids keep their shape. That's why it's called a solid. Like a brick does not transform and change its shape. No, a brick will always be that square brick that it is. So it's a solid. Okay? Solid metal is very hard, like a piece of rock, and some are soft, like a cotton ball. But again, the whole thing about solids is that they will not change their shape. They will stay in their form. That's why they're called a solid. Some solids are stretchy, like a rubber band. Some break easily, like glass. And some are very strong, like steel, but they are all still considered a solid. Okay? All right, let's talk about the next one. A liquid. So a solid, we kind of understand what a solid is, right? It's something that keeps its form. It does not change. It's solid. It's hard. Some of it is soft, but it keeps its form. It does not break easily, okay? So let's look at 140 and let's talk about a liquid. I think we are kind of aware of what a liquid is. So some kind of matters can be poured. Now, we know obviously we can't pour a solid, so therefore, if you can pour it, then it is called a liquid. Some kinds of matter that can be poured are called liquids, like milk, oil, dish soap. They are all liquids. Liquid does not hold its shape. It does not. Like how a solid can hold its shape. Like if I have this mouse, it will hold its shape. Well, a liquid is not the same. Once you pour out the liquid, it disperses and it goes into all kinds of different shape. Okay? Also, whatever type of container it is. So if it's a bowl, it will take the shape of a circle. If it's a jug, a pitcher, it'll take the shape of the pitcher. Whatever you fill with the liquid will change its shape. So solids do not change their shape, but liquids can change their shape depending on what you're pouring the liquid inside of. Okay? All liquids can be poured, but all liquids don't feel the same. Some are sticky like honey, which is still a liquid, and then some are thick like slime, and then we know some are smooth like water. So they're all still liquids though because we can pour them. It's just they all come in different forms. Textures as a liquid. They don't feel the same. You have thick honey, you have smooth water, and then you'll have gooey things like slime, but they're all liquids because you can pour it. Okay? So our salt and sugar solids are liquids. Salt and sugar. Think about a salt and sugar. Would that be a liquid? Because you can pour salt, right? But would it be a solid or a liquid? It's a solid. It doesn't break up, right? It doesn't lose its form. It's these little, small, tiny little salt, crystals, and sugar is the same way. So they are solids. Yes, we can pour it, but it's a solid. It's not a liquid. Okay? It does not take the shape of anything that it's in. And it doesn't like change its shape. It stays the same. So that's a salt, sugar, and salt are solids. We do pour them, but they're solids. Okay, let's look at 141 gases. So the air around us is matter. Now we can't see the air around us, but we know there's air surrounding us because we breathe it in. We breathe in all that oxygen. We cannot see it, but it is called a gas. When you inhale it, it's inhaling all of the oxygen inside of us. So that's why it's considered a gas. Carbon dioxide is a gas that you breathe out. So we don't see gases, but we know they exist. Like I said, we know we have oxygen because we're breathing right now, right? You maybe played with a balloon at a party. Helium is what fills up balloons. We don't see the helium, right? But when you put the balloon on the machine to fill it up, guess what the balloon does? It fills up with helium. It's a gas. So gases do have weight. Some are heavy, some are light. Helium is lighter than air, and that's why balloons, whenever you put helium in a balloon, guess what it does? It floats. It's lighter. So some gases are heavy, some are thin. So gases, they have the ability, we don't see them. That's the thing about a gas. We don't see it, but a lot of times we can usually like smoke. We may not see the smoke, but guess what we can do? Smell it. Smoke is a type of gas. We don't see it, but we can smell it. Gases are different than solids and liquids. Solids can hold their form. They're thick. Some are thin, but they hold their form. Liquids we pour, but gases we do not see. But we know they exist because usually our other senses will tell us that a gas is nearby. Even like gas, if there's like a gas leak somewhere, we might not see that there's a gas leak, but you will smell that there's a gas leak. Okay? So some examples of gases will be like oxygen, carbon dioxide, helium. These are all examples of gases. And there's others, but these are 3 examples, okay? And 142, let's talk about the changing states of matter. Okay? So when we think of water, we usually think of it in its liquid form. And we know that our bodies need water, plants need water, we can even swim in water. But did you know water can be in all 3 states? Yes. And when we talk about the water cycle soon, we'll talk about that. But water is something that can be all 3. Okay? Water can be a solid, it could be a liquid, and it can be a gas. If water gets cold enough, guess what it does? Freezes. And when it freezes, it becomes a solid. It can be a block of ice, right? Or like an iceberg, like in the ocean, right? That's just water frozen solid. So that's how water can be a solid. It will freeze and harden, and then it's all together, come together, and it's a solid. Okay? Ice, we know, is useful for keeping things cold. So, of course, though, we know that once you put ice in something, guess what it does? It melts. Once you take it out of the freezer that's keeping it a solid, it starts to melt. And then it melts back into a what? Liquid. It melts back into a liquid. Okay? Maybe if you're drinking something really, really hot, you see the smoke coming up. That's called steam. But guess what that is? It's water turned into a gas. So steam is water turned into a gas. And so it's all that hot water, that is from the thing. Okay, so if heat has energy and it's taken away from water, it freezes ice to make it a solid. And so whenever you see the steam coming out, that's some of the water escaping. It has evaporated into what we know as steam, which is a gas. So water is one of the only things that can actually be all 3 states. There are, but the water is the one we're focusing on. It can be all 3. It can be a solid, like a block of ice. It can be liquid, of course, like we drink water. And then it can be a gas, like when we see the steam coming off of something really hot. So water has the ability to be in all 3 forms of, yes, in all 3 forms, solid, liquid, and gas. Okay? So that's your science lesson this week on the states of matter, solids, liquids, and gases, and how water can change into all 3. Okay?